But it's because for a long time, like Midterm has grown so fast that we just wanted to keep the train working. And now we're like, okay, let's make it work better.
Guys, I am so excited for you guys to jump into this episode. I just talked with Katie from Furnished Finder. She dropped so much knowledge. She's Furnished Finder's marketing director, but she has so much knowledge from being a host herself, from being the marketing director at Furnished Finder, and running the Landlord Diaries, where she interviews tons of midterm rental operators. So I cannot wait for you guys to dive in. We talk about so much. So go ahead, jump in, and enjoy. Welcome, Katie. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to chat with you, and a lot of reasons. I know we chatted, I think at this point, a couple months ago. I was
Yeah.
on Furnished Finder podcast that you host, and I was just thinking about this before you came on here, and I talked to people from different companies, and the coolest thing I think about you, well, one of the coolest things is that you actually are an investor yourself. So you have kind of some insight from the Furnished Finder side because you are the director of marketing, if I have the title correct there.
Yep.
You're an investor yourself. So you kind of got knowledge, and you also are a podcast host. You're interviewing tons of midterm rental investors. And so that's why I was like, all right, this is cool. This is special. This is unique. So I'm excited to chat with you today.
Well, I'm glad you think that there are multiple parts of me that are cool. If you could relay that to my husband, I would very much appreciate it. Just kidding. But no, it's really fun being able to have my own properties. We have our 10th midterm that we're working on right now. But then also getting to be a part of the Furnished Finder team. Like I literally eat, sleep, and breathe midterm rentals.
Yeah,
So it's something I clearly like. Otherwise I would be not doing well with my life.
totally. Totally. How did you get into like the midterm stuff specifically? Because I saw you've been investing in real estate for 10-ish years. So did
Yeah.
you start with midterm, or where did you even start?
Yeah, I used to work for a commercial real estate investment firm, and that like opened my eyes to real estate investing as like a method of generating wealth and returns and just investments and the strategies and kind of the theory behind it all, right? But commercial investing in commercial just never really resonated with me. Um Operationally it's just such a different beast and it just never really clicked with me, right? I understood it, I appreciated how much potential it has, but it just wasn't my thing. And then I started working at Furnished Finder, and that's when it was like, oh, I can do this. Like this is cool. So that's when we just kind of stepped on the gas, and we've gone from I actually got my first midterm rental after I started working at Furnished
Okay.
Finder. So we have gotten to, and when I say we, it's me and my family kind of collectively, we do this together. It's a team effort. We've gotten to, like I said, we'll have our 10th midterm rental up and live in about 2 weeks,
Wait.
in just under 2 years.
Wow.
So it's been pretty rapid. Thankfully, I have help with my family.
Yeah, totally. I I could never imagine doing this with my family, but I think it's cool that I see some combinations where I'm like, all right, that's awesome. Family works together really well. Me, I'm like, I love my family, but I couldn't work with them.
You know, it's funny because me and we do it with my side of my family, not my husband's side, right? And I'm like, we literally can't even like go out to dinner together without like having an argument or disagreement. But something with this, like every one of us has our very specific roles, and there's like this understanding that it's like you do your role, I'll do mine, and we'll all get along together just fine. And it's that has worked out great, but I literally would have never expected to have so much success working with my family because like I said, like we can't even get through a holiday without
Yeah.
something happening. It's
Right. So what are
definitely
the
an
roles?
art.
Yeah. What are the roles? You don't have to name each person, but like what's your role?
Yeah.
What are these different positions that like you guys are holding to make this thing happen?
So we've come up with pretty uh atrocious names for us all, really. Because we got to keep it lighthearted. We're all working hard. So they call me the bossy boss because I shamefully will just tell everybody what we're going to do, what we need to stop doing, or what we're doing next. My husband is the cheerleader because he has a really stressful full-time job. So he's like not as involved day to day, but he's like always there to root us on and keep us going. My mom is the organizer and the planner, so she's very, very detailed.
Nice.
So she's the one that like receives all the furnishings and she's prepping all of them and organizing them. And she's the one where we're like, I saw you ordered this bath rug and I don't like this bath rug because of XYZ. You need to order that bath rug. And I'm like, okay, mom. My brother is the builder and the handyman. So he kind of, anything that we need pre-assembled for furnishing or anything that comes up that he can handle as far as repairs, he takes care of.
Got it.
And my sister is the muscles.
Got it.
Her and her boys come in and she comes in and furnishes stuff, but then we all do that's kind of for the setup, but we all do stuff to maintain it as well. Like my sister manages all of the utilities, right? She's the one that flags me if like, "Hey, our utilities for this unit are through the roof,"
Wow.
right? Or just stuff like that. So it's definitely an all hands on deck situation, but we figured out the systems pretty well where it's like once we get up and going, it it's a pretty well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. That's awesome. From working at Furnished Finder, doing the podcast, obviously scaling your own business, what do you feel like has been? I mean, I'm sure there's a million factors, but one of the
Yeah.
biggest factors helping you scale so fast on purchasing side.
Yeah. I think something that people who are interested in getting into midterm rentals or are looking to scale, it's like this is a strategy that's very easy to pivot in and out of,
Mhm.
right? So the biggest disfavor you can do yourself is just not jumping in and trying it, right? Because we have data and we have things that you can research and due diligence on a potential property or a unit or whatever, right? But you're never going to learn as much as just getting in there and actually trying it. Like it's just kind of one of those experiences where it's like when you're thinking about an event and someone says, "Well, you just had to be there."
Right.
With midterms, I feel like it's like, "Well, you just have to try it." And if it doesn't work, you can transition to short term or you can transition to long term or you can even transition within the different realms of midterm, right? Maybe you go from a healthcare worker to a relocating family or a digital nomad. But I think there's just a lot of people who I see so much potential in, and I just want to shake them. And I just want to be like, just try it, right? Just try it. And you're going to have hiccups. You're going to have things along the way where you're like, why didn't I think of that beforehand? Or
Yeah.
why didn't I? But you can't beat yourself up like that. Like, you just have to keep pushing on and moving forward, but, like, you can't move forward if you're not in the ring.
Totally. And something that I've seen happen a lot because same kind of thing. It's scary when you're first starting out because you don't
Yeah.
know, like, you don't know all the different types of people even coming. So you're like, well, what
Right.
if like travel nurses don't come to the area? It's like, well, there's other people that are going to come too. And
Yeah.
I found in my markets is since I'm already, or once I got my first one, I started seeing the inquiries come in. And just for that first one
Mhm.
alone, it helped me build my confidence to the second one, the third one.
Yes.
And then from there, like right now, I was telling you this before, my properties are full and I'm still getting these unmatched leads. I'm still getting like people reaching
Yeah.
out, like needing housing. And I'm like, that gives me more confidence to get the next one. But
Yes.
if I didn't start the first one, and I actually started kind of getting into midterm stuff, co-hosting other people's properties.
Mhm.
But if I don't know, if I didn't start that, it'd be I can see why it's a challenge, but I
Right.
also tell people that the first property you buy is not gonna be you might make might be a great investment for you. It's not gonna be the
Right.
one thing that completely transforms your life, most likely.
Right.
For me, it's like a
Right.
good stepping stone. That makes sense.
I think the other thing people have to remember is people aren't out there bragging about their failures, right? I mean, we have one house that we purchased in Florida that I absolutely hate. I hate it. I hate it so much. But I can't sit here and say that I wish we never would have bought it because I've learned so much from it,
Yeah.
right? So it's like we all have those.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to go through a pattern of investing or experience any length of time in investing and have like a perfect track record, right? But
Probably.
that's how you learn. Like if you think of a toddler, they stand up, they try to walk, they fall down, they get back up, and then they get better and better and better, right? But you don't know what you don't know, and the only way to figure that stuff out is to get in the rink and start to play around.
Totally.
Right? Like that's the only way you can do it. And even the people who are very experienced are still making mistakes,
Oh, yeah.
right? We're just not talking about them, but we're still learning from them. Like I had a few weeks ago, I had a tenant and she was so sweet, but she was like, "Hey, I just got a disconnect notice for the water on the front door." And I was like, "What in the heck?" And at first I was like, "This makes me look so bad."
Yeah,
But then I was just like, "You know what? It was just an oversight, like, the credit card on auto pay expired, whatever." She was super understanding, no big deal, but, like, you can't figure out all of those processes, all of those things without going through it,
totally.
right?
Yeah, I've had several water turn off notification, and it's just like at the end of the day, the more stuff you have, those little things, they're
Yeah.
gonna get lost. So at the first time it happened to me, I was like, "How did this happen? Oh my god!" But
Yeah, you beat
then it
yourself
happened.
up.
Then it happened again, and I'm like, "Okay, I need to make sure that I've got these
Right,
checklists in place." And even when I have these checklists in place, I still make mistakes. I had a property I bought
right.
last April, and I set up the gas. I set up actually, no, the gas was one of the things that I forgot to set up, but that was on me, of course. And then I set up all the other utilities. Then about 10 months later, I get a some type of notification email, maybe it was a letter and the tenant sent to me. I can't remember. But then I never hooked up the sewage. I never like signed up for the sewage billing. And I'm like, I when you're buying a property,
Right.
this was a Burr property too. So I was lining up contractors, I was handling an investor's money, all these things.
Yeah.
It's not that like and people also worry about vacancies. Oh, what if I'm vacant for a week or two or a month? You're gonna be like there's gonna be a time
You
where
are.
you're gonna mess up.
Mhm.
But it's for me, one of the things I mean, because I used to be like, oh my God, I'm vacant for a week, or oh my God, I forgot to whatever. What I realize
Yep.
is like this is such a long-term play. So if you're in it for
Yes.
like, I need to make a 50,000% cash and cash return right now, it doesn't really make
It's
sense.
not your game,
Yeah.
right? It's not your game. It's not short term is where more cash flow is, right? But it's also like it's a lot riskier
Yeah.
and it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
I have one of my properties right now where I had a month gap. And we've talked to so many people about the hybrid method, short term, midterm hybrid. And I was like, I'm really not interested in short term. The amount of work, like I've got a full-time job I love. My husband's got like we're all working, right? So having the ease of management is a really big thing, but I was like, I've got a month gap, let me just try it. So I put a 5-day minimum and I had 3 bookings, which I felt like was pretty solid for a month, like 15 days out of a month. It made it so we still cash flowed on that property, not a crazy amount, but like at least it wasn't just sitting vacant. Oh
Right.
my god, it was so much work. It was
Mhm.
so much work and I never got the chance to screen the tenants. I never got the chance to talk to them. All I saw was, like, they had reviews or not and how long they had been on Airbnb. So, like, this whole month, I've been, like, on edge about that property,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be fine,
Mhm.
but I don't like that feeling. Like,
Totally.
I'm not in it I am in it more for the long haul, and, my husband and I were calculating, okay, when we start a new unit or a new property, how long does it take us until we get into the black? And it's not a month or 2, it's like 4 or 5 or 6 months,
Yep.
right? But I'm like, "Well, that's fine. I'm not doing this for the money I put in as startup to get back tomorrow.
Right.
I'm doing it because it's maintainable and it's manageable." And usually, you get a tenant in there, you screen them, you get them set up, get the lease signed, and I'm like, I won't hear from them for months on end.
Yeah.
So it's like a win-win.
Totally. Yeah. That's my favorite part. It just like having them in and then not worrying about it for a couple months at a time. Because I used to do all
Yeah.
short-term rentals, and it's a
It just
grind.
stresses me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a similar story you just mentioned. I had a I have a triplex, and I had a traveling nurse book through Airbnb for one of my units, and then
Yeah.
she was there for a week, and then after the week, I had someone coming in for 3 months. So I was like, "It'll be great." But this
Right.
travel nurse who was only in there for a week, she wanted to extend, and unfortunately, I didn't have longer for her to extend, but I did
Right.
have another unit in that this sounds terrible, I mean, now I'm saying it. I had another unit in that triplex that was available for 6 nights, and
Yeah.
honestly, I decided not even to tell her about it and just leave it vacant because
Yeah.
the headache of first of all, she was kind of a little bit of a headache to begin with, but
Yeah.
I was calculating it, and after the cleaning fees and after you kinda factor in having to wash the towels and sheets again and all this stuff,
Mhm.
like, I would make probably 200-300 bucks from it, and that's probably right in my, like, way where I'm like, "Eh, probably not," so I just left it vacant, honestly,
Yeah.
and I'm just gonna
Yeah.
wait for the next one who's paying a crazy amount of money, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, like, the headache is sometimes not I'd rather have a little vacancy then
Yes.
the wrong guest.
I ended up turning it off because I had 3 and I was like, I am done.
Yeah.
Like, this is I was like, "Okay, I've had 3, knock on wood, they've all been okay," but I was like, I don't wanna have the nightmare, and I really like the fact that I get to when I have a midterm tenant, like, I make a point to call them or text them, or I'm like, "I wanna make sure that, like, you and I are okay with this relationship,"
Yep.
because then I can get a sense of, like, what your expectations are. I can tell you kinda how I run things.
Right.
I can't do that with a short-term rental.
Yep.
Like, it's more like you roll the roulette wheel, and whoever you get, and I'm like, I have done enough gambling, like, I'm all set.
Yep. I'm with you completely. That's funny. So
Yeah.
with getting these um people from Furnished Finder, I guess first, what would you consider your bread and butter, or is it just a bunch of different demographics or types of like people come into your property?
Yeah, all of our midterms are out of state. So my family lives in Iowa. I'm in Colorado. We just really like that market. So, and they're kind of like running the boots on the ground stuff anyway. So we chose out there. We're really close to the university that also has a big hospital.
Okay.
So we get grad students, we get interns, we do get a lot of nurses and medical professionals, but we're kind of trying to make like a pyramid. Like we have the most of studio and one beds, then we have some 2 beds, then
Okay.
we have 1 3-bed right now, and then we're just gonna try to keep expanding that pyramid. From a strategic standpoint, I really like the idea of, like I call that bottom layer kinda like my sponge. So I'm like, "Okay, if I have some of the larger properties that have a higher carrying cost, if they're vacant,
Mhm.
the sponge, like, those ones are really consistently full." Like, I bet I have a 98% occupancy rate there. Pulling that number out of thin air, I am not calculated it. Um, but I'm like, they can absorb some of those vacancies, right? And it doesn't feel like as much of a hit, but I really like the larger properties too. So it's we're kinda trying to carry that. I love the studios because they're really easy to manage, but I also love the larger properties because you get a little bit more bang for your buck.
Right.
And just like everything stretches further, right? Like one tenant it's you're like, one tenant really would probably need 2 to 3 people
Yeah.
or a family, and then you're serving them higher, so you're getting everything's higher. Yes, my costs are higher, but my rental income is also higher, my appreciation is higher, everything is higher,
Totally.
so they still feel like they're getting a really good place to stay at a good value, and I feel really good about the investment front of it.
Totally. Do you have any like duplexes, triplexes, or yeah, I know you
I
mentioned like
got a
studios one,
close
but
bed
are
allergy.
those
I don't have any yet. We have a mix of kinda arbitrage and ownership. We've used arbitrage to keep the snowball moving, if you will, while we're, like, getting the capital for more ownership and just finding the right properties. And I've used arbitrage as a way to kinda, like, test the waters. Like, if we're gonna go to a new city or a new market, I'm gonna arbitrage one first
yeah.
because
That's
I want like I said, like, I don't know what I don't know,
right.
right? But we have one of our properties is a townhouse
Right.
that I love. One is a condo. I would love to have a duplex or triplex. There just aren't as many where the markets that we're in. But I actually really like the properties with an HOA if the HOA is reasonable.
Okay.
The HOAs I like are the ones with like 4 pages of bylaws and not 150.
Yeah.
And they're usually the bylaws, like, from 1975 and they haven't changed, and, like, really, their main rule is, like, "Don't be a jerk," but they take care of the lawn and the snow removal, and if the roof needs replacing, they'll handle all that. So, from a management standpoint, it takes a lot off of my shoulders.
Yeah.
Um, so I've actually kind of fallen in love with good HOAs.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like that's probably pretty untapped too, because I'll like when for at
Yeah.
least me, I'll do searches and I'll say no HOAs, period. Because I
Yeah,
don't
see,
want
I'm
to
like the 2 of mine that have HOAs, like, the bylaws, I literally don't think they've been touched since the '70s. Like, I
Wow.
got sent the documents, and I'm like, "Oh, these were for sure made on a typewriter."
Wow. That's great.
Like and so I'm like, "Well, if that's your standard, like, great, take care of the lawn for me."
Yeah.
Right? Um, so yeah, I think you have to take those kind of on a one-off basis.
Totally. Totally. And I know you mentioned you have some properties in Denver. We'll have to talk after this because so my girlfriend, she's in grad school. This
Okay.
goes back into Furnished Finder too, because so she's in grad school. she's studying physical therapy. So she
Oh,
has like
nice.
3 rotations in 3 different cities that we need to find housing in. And so I'm like, all right, well, I know what to do in these situations. You go to Furnished
Yeah.
Finder and
Yeah,
everything,
you do.
right? So we started looking. Well, the first one, we're staying in our apartment that we're in now, so we didn't have to do anything for that one. The second one, we we actually ended up going with an Airbnb because they're just, and this is why I like it on the investing side.
Yeah.
The competition is, for number one, the competition is in a lot of cities I've seen are super low. People just aren't,
Mhm.
I call like professional hosts doing it right.
Right.
And then also
Right.
too, the whole thing with these hosts who want to do midterm rental deep down, but they're too scared to have their calendar open. So they just take short
Right.
stays months and months in advance. It kind of creates that thing where there's not that much supply in a lot of these markets, which again, for an investor
Mhm.
like me, I love it because
Yep.
it's just great. But anyway, so we're looking for a place now in Denver. So we'll have to talk later, see if our locations.
Yeah.
But yesterday, she had like a couple of her classmates together, and they were all talking about, yeah, we're looking at this thing called Furnish Finder to find a place to stay, and none of them know
Yeah.
what to do. But it was just
Yeah.
sweet, just hearing it kind of come full circle and being on like that side of it rather than
Right.
your side.
Yeah, it's funny when you're, like, in something all day, every day, it's like, "How do you not know about this? How are
Yeah,
you" even, like, I'll talk to other real estate investors or even, like, agents, and I'm like, "You haven't heard of this?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, it's bizarre because we're in it all day, every day, and I'm
yeah,
like, "How are you not aware?" But there is still so much awareness growing for the
totally.
platform and also for just midterm rentals in general, and you're right, like, there's a lot of people who are kind of dipping their toe in, but really to find out if you're gonna be successful as a landlord, like, you've gotta make space on your calendar,
Mhm.
and it's different, right? Like, you have to be on there, and you need to be replying to messages, and you need to reach out to leads, like, you're never just gonna wake up and have, like, "Oh, you have a booking," right? And that's intentional. And that's set up for everybody, like, it's set up just as much for the tenants as it is for the landlords, but it's like, they're not gonna be there for 5 days, just like you and
Right,
your girlfriend traveling, you don't wanna just get stuck with someone who might be not a good fit for you, right? Like, you wanna have that conversation.
totally.
Um, so it's just it's an adaptation, but it's growing on the supply and the demand side, and that to
Totally.
me is really encouraging because it's not just like "Oh, this thing is gonna get flooded and it's gonna be so competitive." It's like, no, and we've been really conscious of that at Furnish Finder too. Like, we're ensuring that, like, it becomes a healthy marketplace and that we teach people how to use it on both sides and that it does, keep doing what it's been doing so well.
For sure, for sure. What do you I don't know, I know you said, you have a team of people, aka like your family to help you. So I don't know if you handled this specifically, but do you message people back on Furnish Finder or when people inquire, are you the person who inquires back to your guests or no?
Yep.
Okay. So I want to
Yep.
ask you, like, I have a couple questions about this. The first one is, how long on average would you say it takes from the moment someone inquires to them actually signing the lease and paying with you? What have you seen roughly?
I think it depends on A, how good of a fit you are,
Yeah,
and B, how quickly they need housing.
yeah,
The average book to stay window that we see is about 34 days. What I see personally is usually a lot shorter than that.
yeah,
Like, my Furnish Finder inbox right now is flooded with people looking for a place in, like, 10 days,
yeah,
right? And I'm like, "I'm all full. I can't help you. I wish I could." Um, but if it's a fit, like, if I have exactly what they're looking for or close enough where it's, like, a no-brainer, it's usually pretty quick.
yeah,
It's pretty quick, and I attribute that to I send a really good first message, and I'm not saying that I do it better than anybody else, but I'm saying that, like, it's thorough, right? Like, I'm saying, "Here's the details of the property. Here's kinda my process and my procedure. Here's a little bit about who I am, so you know, like, who you're talking to." And then I invite them, like, "Do you wanna move forward with a tenant screening?" After that, it's a digital lease and a security deposit, and it's all yours. So they see the finish line.
totally.
Right? So, I'll do it in as quick as a few hours.
Yeah, yeah. My record is like right under an hour, just getting someone. And I'm curious what you do. Do you
Yeah.
call them too or no?
I'll usually text them.
Okay. I personally pick up the phone like
That's smart.
well, It depends. Like sometimes they put in their preferences, how they want to be
Yeah.
contacted. So if someone doesn't put call or text, then I usually text them too, but or through the
Yeah.
app, and I always just respond through the Furnished Finder app anyways. But yeah,
Yep.
usually I'm picking up the phone and calling them because what I've seen people do, and it seems annoying as a host, but I think this is one of our advantages, or at least one of my advantages I use. People start inquiring to like a bunch of different properties at the same time.
Mhm.
So they don't know who like they actually inquired to. Everyone's just to them, they just need housing. They inquired to 10 different hosts. They're all roughly the
Right.
same. So when I
Right.
call them and it just they're not getting that from anybody else. So then they kind of
Right.
remember me as a person who called them, talked to
Oh,
them, they know stuff
100%.
good. And then even though my prices are a little bit higher, they just feel more comfortable going
Yep.
with me. So I think that's been one of my personal advantages. I'm curious if you've had anything you do. I know that first message was huge.
Yeah, one thing I really wish everybody understood more is how the platform works, right? And because when you're on the platform, and this if somebody is not a current landlord on Furnish Finder might not make sense, but you can follow the technique of it and kind of see why we do it the way we do it. We give travelers a lot of different ways to reach out, right? It's not like Airbnb or Verbo where we're like, you were allowed to send a message. You're not allowed to put your email address or your phone number or say this or that, like, or we're going to restrict you and be whatever. It's like, no, 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 do it however you want. So there's a lot of like from interest and a tenant to connecting with the landlord. There's a lot of different ways that they can connect. So they can call you, they can email you, they can text you, they can message you through the platform, right? So there's 4 of them right there.
Yeah.
They can also send you a direct booking request, which is like when they go to your listing and they hit the button that says request booking and they're like, Bailey, I want to stay at your property. Will you please let me stay there? And then you say like, yes, I would, my process is I do a tenant screening or, whatever your process is. But then the other way is a housing request. And this is where a lot of people get thrown off. A housing request is a form that we have on our site and it's a service for travelers who are maybe like time crunched or overwhelmed with all the options. And essentially they go on and they fill out like I'm looking in this city, these dates, this many bedrooms, bathrooms, I have pets, here's my non-negotiables, here's my budget, whatever. And what the platform does is sends it out to anybody who exactly matches what they're looking for. And those show up as a general housing request, but they could go to 10 different people or 20 different people or 100 different people. And then there's a section in your dashboard that's called unmatched leads. And we're going to send that lead to all of the landlords or the properties that meet that traveler's request to a pretty high degree.
Right.
And we're gonna highlight what's different for you, right? But that the people that use the housing request feature is actually really low. So a lot of times I see landlords and they're like, "Oh, I'm not getting any leads." And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Okay, you might not have that many leads, but a lot of time the traveler behavior that leads to a booking is when they see your listing and they either submit a booking request or they text you or they call you or they message you and you're not answering,
Yeah.
right? And then I'll be like, "Show me your messages," right? And they've got messages from travelers. Or I'm like, "Are you answering phone calls or text messages from people that you don't know their numbers?" And they're like, "Well, no." And I'm like, "That's a big issue,"
Yeah.
right? Because that's the majority of people, that's how they're like looking for their housing is um they're using that housing request feature that filters into the general and the unmatched leads, but they're doing it a lot of other different ways too.
Yeah. For sure. Two great things on that. The first one is I hear
Yeah,
so many people who are like, the leads on Furnished Finder are so bad, the quality's so low. And my question's always, did you call them? Because every
right.
single time the n- it's like kind of common sense, I mean, or like common nature. These people on Furnished Finder, they always put their budget way lower than
Well,
usually what
sure.
you're willing to pay, which makes sense. It's like if you walked into a jewelry store and you really want to pay low, you're not going to just tell
Yeah,
them some high price because then they're just going to say the high price. So it makes
right,
total sense. And I think, I mean, I, I, I don't mind how Furnished Finder does it because it kind of puts you in the ballpark. If someone puts 1,200, I
right,
know usually I can get to my 16 to $1,700
right,
unit because I also know what's out there. If you walk
right.
into like a luxury car dealership. You're like, I'm looking to spend 10,000. Not realistic. Because
Right.
the
Right.
different cars that are there. So my biggest thing, I've gotten so many unmatched housing leads. People who put the budgets low. I've had
Yep.
people who like. I had one person who has cats. I normally don't like cats.
Mm.
I took her. I charged a high price for it, but
Yeah.
a very high price for it. But I took her.
Right.
But I don't know. So that's one major thing is like you can't
Yes.
complain about the quality unless if you, in my opinion, call them because
Yes.
you'll get
You
the
never
truth
know,
from 'em.
right?
Yeah,
You never know.
yeah,
And my other thing is, and this is my first question to a lot of people when I'll get that feedback too. I'm like, what does your listing look like?
yeah.
Is your
Oh, yeah,
calendar up to date? What do your photos look like? Because there are so many times where the traveler is going to reach out to you directly.
yeah,
It's not going to come through those leads. It's going to come through a message or a booking request or a text or a phone call. Like those people are searching the map and searching for something they like. But if you're not putting your best face forward there, if your calendar's out of date, if they're looking for something starting on July 1st and your calendar says, it's completely out of date, or you took one short-term booking in August, so really you're not available until September, like, that's hard to help,
totally.
right? Or, like, is your listing completely full? Do you have more than, like, 2 photos, right? So it's like, it's for me, I'm like, take some time and really, really put your best foot forward because it's a marketing platform, right? It's a lead generation site, and this is your way to connect with those leads, and those travelers are browsing, and you want to stand out.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that I do with my own markets, and then also a tip for people looking to invest in other markets is because I don't think that like AirDNA, for example, great resource for the short-term rental side. I don't believe that there's a great equivalent to AirDNA for the midterm side. I know Furnished Finder has some
Right.
tools, and I know I heard at the midterm rental summit you guys are updating some things. But honestly, I think a lot of it is just people want everything handed to them on a silver platter.
Right.
Tell me where the best location is to invest in and just give me the property and is whatever. But what I've seen
Right.
is when I'm looking at my markets, I start like getting so excited when I see properties that either photos are terrible, furnishings are terrible, listings are out of date. And for me,
Mhm.
I get excited with my properties because these people are coming to me. But then I also get excited as an investor when I'm looking at markets. That's one of the ways that I tell if a market is really saturated or not, is I put in
Yeah.
different rates and you can see how many serious players are there in the market. And that's kind of one of the things I do and I get excited about
Yeah.
because yeah, I guess
It's
helps.
it's like midterm is a mix of data and intuition and also just like some investigative reporting,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not as simple as here's your spreadsheet, run your spreadsheet 100 times a day until you find a winner. It's not like that. It's here are some key data points. Um but then also get on the map and like you said, like look, like what's happening around you? What does the price point look like? Does the price point that's $300 below what you're targeting to make your investment work, like, does it look like grandma's house? Because then it
Right.
it might work just fine for you,
Right.
right? But you've gotta, like, put 2 and 2 together on your own a little bit, which some people are not comfortable doing, but it's not rocket science,
Mhm.
right? It's just that you need to get in there and you really need to, like, put yourself in the mind of a traveler and be like, "Okay, what's taking me to this area? What am I looking for? What are the options here? What's my budget like? What are some of how many people are pet friendly? How many people have free parking?" Those amenities help so much when
Yeah.
you're looking at marketing your property. So, it's just like you gotta get in there, but it's a reflection of the fact that we're direct bookings, right?
Mhm.
So we're never going to have a complete comprehensive spreadsheet that you can look at because I don't have Bailey's data
Yeah.
because you're doing it on your own. And I don't want to stop you from doing that. I want you to keep having control
Yeah.
and I want you to keep making a lease and keep getting payments however you want to do. So like I don't want to hinder that, right? So it's just kind of something that it's the nature of the market and you have to get comfortable with.
Totally. Yep. I'm totally with you for sure. And
But I
then
think it's also a lot easier to stand out, right? I think it's hard to stand out in the short-term world.
oh yeah. I mean, the difference in like in the short term world, in order to stand out, you've got to visibly invest tons of money in amenities. You have to
Yeah.
all that stuff on the front. The biggest thing, and like it's free to stand out on the furnished on the midterm side is number one, responding fast. Like that
Mhm.
alone is like way bigger of a difference maker, and just like being that friendly face or voice over the
Yep.
phone. And then of course, like there's just like the competition, like photos and furnishings is just
Yeah.
nuts what people are cutting up right now. And I know you mentioned amenities. Like, are there certain amenities that are like absolute must for your properties that you'd recommend?
Yeah. I make every single property I can pet friendly.
Hmm.
Every single one. I'm not opposed to a pet deposit. I always do a pet deposit. If I know they're gonna have, like, 2 golden retrievers, I'm gonna add a little bit to the cleaning fee, and I don't make any money on that. It's because it takes my cleaner longer to vacuum, and then they're lint rolling couches and everything versus just, vacuuming in them maybe, and they've gotta do like, the linens all take longer, right? It's just, like, a more thorough cleaning. Um, and if it's a pet, like, I will try to provide this is something I actually wanna work on is getting a crate, like a collapsible crate in every apartment, so it's like, you have no reason not to crate your pet if you're not home.
Yeah.
Um, I try all but one of mine have free parking. The one that doesn't have free parking is, like, downtown Des Moines, and free parking isn't really a thing, but I have the paid parking if they want it. Fast Wi-Fi, I always have. Blackout curtains are a must, a good mattress, and a good mattress does not cost a lot of money. A good mattress does not mean you have to go and spend $2,000 on a mattress. You can get a good mattress for like 400 bucks, right?
What's
It
the
doesn't
go
have to break the
one?
bank. I kind of rotate through what's on sale on Amazon, honestly, but I like the green tea ones and I like Ashley has a really good hybrid one where it's like half springs and half memory foam. I really like that one because for the people who don't love memory foam, it doesn't feel too memory foamy.
Yeah.
Um, like, I will always include extra like, at least 1 extra set of sheets, if not 2, extra blankets. I will put a bigger TV in than people think because TVs are cheap. And I will do like, I will make sure that the kitchen is actually stocked. So, like, I will give a Keurig maker and a drip coffee maker, and I'll do baking sheets and mixing bowls, and, like, none of these things are crazy, but these are the amenities that these travelers want.
Totally.
Uh, if there's any space, I'll also do a desk, and I'm trying to, like, during some of the turnovers I have coming up, if I have a desk, I'm gonna start putting a monitor in there because I think it's nice to just be able to offer that someone can plug in their laptop.
Yep.
Uh, but those are the types of things, like, you don't need hot tubs and pickleball courts, and you don't need it,
Right.
you don't need a welcome basket. You know what these travelers want to feel welcome is a clean unit.
Right.
They want a clean property.
That
That's
was
all they
next
want.
for you. I was gonna actually ask
Yeah.
you welcome baskets.
I thought about it because I'm in marketing, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm always about the impression, but I'm like, you know what makes the biggest impression is you walk in and it's clean.
Yeah. For sure.
And I also don't wanna deal with the logistics of a welcome
Yeah.
basket.
So with funny note on the welcome baskets. So my I have my first Airbnb ever. I did
Yeah.
welcome baskets. It was a short-term rental.
Yeah.
I got this whole nice little basket together. I went to my favorite local pizza place, got gift cards for free.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
nice.
exchange. I got like 5 of them or something. Not a single guest said anything about it. No one mentioned it in the
Oh my
review.
gosh.
Literally nothing. I was like, "Whoa, wild." So after the first 5, this was like 3 or 4 years ago now, I stopped doing
Yeah.
I stopped doing any gifts. I'm like, "Absolutely not." Well, then a couple weeks ago at this point, I was just trying to think of like, and I'm actually still thinking about it. I have some questions for you on this. I'm like, how can
Yeah.
I make the experience better for my people? I'm like, I'm very booked right now. Like I can't take anyone
Mhm.
for, like July and August.
Yeah.
I have like
Yeah.
a good occupancy. I'm charging high prices, but something still kind of pushes me to wanna make my units better. So I talked to my cleaner
Yeah.
who now actually has her own Airbnb. She doesn't do any of the
Oh,
mid
that's awesome.
stuff, but it's really, yeah, it's good for her. So I was like, "Hey, what do you do anything to, like, elevate the guest experience?" She goes, "Yeah, we actually leave these gift baskets for, my guests." And I looked at her listing, I looked at her reviews, and people were actually mentioning it. So I was like, "Hey, can you send me a picture of it?" All that stuff.
Yeah.
So we've come up to an agreement We're gonna test it out for the next probably month or 2. We don't have any check-ins now, but well, we're gonna
Right.
try it out for the next couple check-ins. She's gonna leave this she's done it a couple times already, and so far, no one said anything. But anyways, she's gonna leave a little gift basket. She said she's gonna charge me $10, and she's gonna supply all the snacks, the water,
Great.
all this stuff. So, I'm gonna try it out. I'm not I don't know. I've tried it, like, 2 people so far. No
Yeah.
one's said a single word, but
I mean, but that sounds like it's, like, pretty low cost, right? So it's
yeah,
like, what's the harm?
right.
One thing I always do is I'll check in after a day,
Yes, yes.
and that's become really key, and I'll be like, "Hey, how is it going?" And I'll also tell them, "If there's anything that you're missing from a furnishing standpoint that you want, please let me know.
Yeah,
Like, before you go and buy something, let me know, because if it's something that I feel like," and I phrase this differently to them, but I'm like, "If it's something that I feel like will just benefit the unit, like, I'll just buy it."
yeah.
Right? And I've had someone ask like, "Oh, it'd be cool if there was a shoe rack because my boots get
Oh,
wet in the winter." And I'm like, "That's a great idea.
yeah,
I will buy that." And just that type of hospitality goes a really long way, because then they feel like you're really on the same team,
totally.
right? Like they feel like you're trying to take care of them. But I also I feel like people don't brag about their amenities enough, right? A lot of them are kind of their second nature to us, but telling people, "Hey, there's secured entry. There's a well-lit path to the front door. There's really safe parking," or whatever it is, right? Or you get access to the mailbox. Like, that's an amenity when you're a midterm traveler. You don't always get that.
Yep,
Or there's package lockers that are really easy to use, or it's quiet, or if it's in a complex, like you're on the top floor. Like, these are all things that are solid amenities,
mhm,
but people don't think of them as amenities. So it's like, that's your time to, like, brag about what you have, because that's going to really increase your value to tenants. The other thing I've been trying to incorporate is, like, making things a little bit more self-service. So I get questions about I feel everybody gets questions about Wi-Fi, even if, like, you make the instructions so clear. So I'm like, I want to get, like, QR codes and put them on the router. I had a really, really sweet guest who was so nice, and I told her that, hey, the information for the Wi-Fi is on the router. And bless her heart, and I say this genuinely because she was the sweetest person ever, thought that the network name was called on router.
oh my god.
And it took us like 10 or 15 messages back and forth to figure out that that's how she had interpreted it. So I was like, "Okay, I have to make this what I already thought was foolproof. I
Right,
gotta make it even more."
that's fun.
So I feel like it's just, like, little stuff like that where you're making it so when that person moves in, they wanna move in. They don't want to have to talk to us a bunch of
Right,
times. Like, making it so they can be self-service.
totally. Yeah, one of the things that I've done is I started including pictures. Like, I have a triplex, so sometimes it's
Yeah.
confusing, like, which unit is theirs. So, I
Yeah.
say, "Hey, it's on the left side," but I also put a picture so they can see a clear identifier. "Okay, this is
That's
definitely my
smart.
unit because of this." I mean, it's just the number on top, but you can miss it if
Yeah.
it's your first time there and you have a million things going on. But,
Yeah.
another thing that kind of motivates me to make my properties better, and they're already, like, good, like, stocked well, or they're above the they're probably in the top percentile in my markets, but again, I've already said
Right.
it doesn't really mean much because most people are
Right.
so below average the way that they do it. But I had a guest who actually checked in yesterday or 2 days ago for 3 months, and she says, "Hey, just wanted to, like, confirm, is the unit fully stocked?" And she gave some examples, like toilet paper, like towels, stuff like that. So I answered her question, like, basically, yes, it's fully stocked. Some like the toilet paper is like, your starter stuff,
Right.
couple rolls.
Right.
But then I started to think, like, is my unit fully stocked? Like, do I have everything that a travel nurse would need? And then I was like, I don't have oil. I have salt and pepper, but I'm like,
Yeah.
people bring in their own seasonings. No, are they gonna have to buy them? Yeah. Then I started to think about me because I was like, I'm going to travel soon, and I'm like, what would I
Right.
want? And I don't know. I'd probably honestly probably get kind of grossed out if I saw like 6 bottles of like seasonings and stuff or like oil.
Right.
I probably wouldn't use it anyways, to be honest. But I don't know. Do you do? I know you mentioned you like fully stock your kitchen. What does that look like
Right.
besides like the basics?
Fully stocked for me is everything you need to eat, everything you need to cook, everything you need to bake, everything you need to caffeinate. and I do spices, and I do a can of, like, nonstick spray.
Mm,
I don't even know if they've ever been used,
yeah,
but I feel like if someone gets in a pinch and they're like, "Oh, it's cold outside, I want to bake cookies." I gave him a cookie sheet, so I
yeah,
feel like there should be some nonstick spray in there, but I also feel on the flip side, I'm like, to your point, right? I don't know if I would use them as a traveler, but I wouldn't be grossed out that they're there.
right.
'Cause I'm like, "Well, that's fine. I'm just gonna leave that for the
To
next person." So I'm like, I don't see the downside in it, but that's really as far as I go with and salt and pepper. That's really as far as I go, and then I'll give them a couple of pods for the dishwasher, a couple of laundry pods, some trash bags, some Kleenex, some toilet paper, um, and then I have a tote of, like, extra of those supplies. Oh, and I give them some K-Cups. I have a tote of those extra supplies if for the units I have that I don't have, like, an owner's closet, and I just put it in the closet and I wrote owner's supplies in it, and everybody leaves it alone, which I can't say would be the case if it were an Airbnb.
Definitely
If it were an
not.
Airbnb, it'd be rated every single time, and then my cleaner keeps track of it and restocks it when she needs to, and it's awesome. Um, but yeah, that's all they want, right? Is, like, they wanna be able to move in and, like, wipe up the counter if they need to wipe off the counter, and a vacuum. A vacuum is so big.
Totally.
I think a lot of people forget vacuums, and especially with, like, allergens and stuff, you want to have a vacuum.
Yeah, 100%. I
It's
know
really big.
I know you mentioned TVs before. Do you have TVs in the bedroom or just, like, the living room?
I have it I we have a two-bed, two-bath condo,
Yeah.
and I feel like I went a little overboard on the TVs there. We put one in the family room, and then we put one in each bedroom
Okay.
with the thought that, like, if this was more of, like, a not a couple traveling together, but, like, people who just were maybe working at the same hospital or on the same contract or at the same company and, like, kinda sharing the space, they would each have their own space. But then we have our three-bed townhouse we did after that, and I just did one TV. And the more I think about it, I'm like, if I go somewhere and I'm like even if I'm on, like, a short-term rental, like, if we go on vacation, there's usually not a TV in the bedroom, and we'll just usually watch it on my iPad or something, right? So I'm like, "Okay," but I will say if I had a traveler who was like, "Hey, any chance you'd feel like putting a TV in the bedroom?" I'd probably say yes because it's not they're, like, so cheap now. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
totally. Yeah, I had this
Yeah.
guest checking in on Saturday, and it's basically a mom and her 2 daughters, and they're only there for a month, but these are the people with the cats, so I
Oh,
charged them
yeah.
a good amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I charged I think it's totally reasonable. They couldn't get that alternative at a hotel. I think it's totally fair
Right.
price, but
Right.
compared to, like, for how my numbers work, I feel really good about it. But then I was
Yeah.
kinda like, "Man, like, should I ask them if they want a TV in the bedroom?" I like doing things for my guests, but
Yeah.
then I was like, it's okay, like, they probably don't need it or whatever, or if they
Right.
really wanted, they could ask, but I don't know. I just I've just been on this, like, urge to increase
Yeah.
some of the guest
Well, I
experience,
think
not go
but I
overboard.
think that's important is to, like, always be improving a little bit,
Yeah,
right? Like, just a little bit, and I think part of that's feedback, like, when someone moves out, what's the feedback?
yeah,
But you have to, like, kind of blatantly ask for it sometimes, like, "Hey, what's one thing that was missing that you wish you woulda had?" And you might find out that it was a blender and not a TV.
yeah,
Who
true.
knows, right? Um, with the people you're hosting with the cats, like, yes, you're charging them more, but it's still a value for them.
Yeah, totally.
Right? You can't have 2 cats in a hotel, and there's not many places that you can. And also when you're in a hotel, you're in a hotel.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
I mean, when I travel even for work and I'm in a hotel for, like, 2 days, I'm like, "And I'm good." And
Yeah,
I'll think about people who have stayed in extended stays, and I'm like, "I don't know how you've done this. Like,
oh,
this is hard. I can't even open the window.
yeah,
Like, I
very
want
true.
some fresh air." Yeah, yeah. So you're still providing a value.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Do you you kinda mentioned, like, asking the guest blatantly, like, what could you provide? Do you do, like, a formal, like, exit for or, like, checkout survey or anything?
I don't. I want to, and I think that's one of those things where we have to always be improving.
Yeah,
That's one thing we always have to be improving and working on, like you said, like, especially when you're full, you don't wanna just sit back, you wanna be like, "Okay, what can I be doing better?" And that might be, like, can I make templates for my messages? It might be, what kind of processes can I put in place? What documentation can I make? But even if you look online and you see, there's all sorts of sample standard operating procedures, messaging templates. There's all sorts of resources on this, but what's important is that you take it and you like make it your own.
Yeah.
And that can mean not only tweaking the language or the process itself, but like how it works for you, right, is just as important because your properties in your market are different than anybody else's. So you've got to take that and adapt it a little bit. But I think it's really important to be always improving a little bit. It's funny, my brother called me, like I said, he's like our handyman, right? And he called me this weekend and I just answered the phone and I said, "They're for the condo when these tenants move out." And he started laughing so hard because I didn't even say hello. And I knew what he was calling about. And it's because I found doorknobs on sale on Amazon. And there was a 6 pack of like really nice black doorknobs for 20 bucks.
That's funny.
And our condo has like the outdated, like shiny gold doorknobs from the 80s. And he like started laughing. He's like, "You knew what I was calling about before you even answered." I was like, "Yes." He goes, "Why are we doing doorknobs there? The gold ones are fine." I said, "Yes, they're fine.
Right.
But what we need to do is every turnover, I just want to do something
Right.
so that 5 years from now, we're not saying, 'Oh man, we need to do a full rehab.'"
Right.
Right? I'm like, "We need to just make it a little bit nicer
For sure.
every time." Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you
So now he's got 12 doorknobs that I don't know how long he'll have to hold on to.
Yeah. No, I have a closet full of, like, random stuff. I'm like, "Yeah," like, or I ordered an extra dresser or nightstand or
Yeah.
something. I'm just like, "Throw it in the closet. I'll use it later down the road."
My poor family, and, like, sometimes I'll find, like, a good deal on something and I'll order it, and my mom will call me and she'll be like, "So I just got a couch delivered. When were you gonna tell me about that?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry. I got a little busy with work, and I kind of forgot to tell you that I impulse ordered a couch."
That's funny. Yeah, I've not gone that far yet. I've ordered couches. That's funny.
Yeah. Especially on Black Friday, it's just like click,
Fair.
click, 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 click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny. Do
Yeah.
you How have you gotten, or not, maybe you haven't done this, but, like, reviews on Furnished Finder? I have not had a single tenant review my properties. I only asked once, so totally my fault
Mm.
for not having reviews, but do you have reviews on your property? Do you have any tips or tricks for that?
I do. And this is something that from the Furnished Finder side, we are definitely gonna be working to get the process of getting reviews and requesting reviews and giving reviews, a lot more streamlined. But our first priority is just getting everything on the platform, like, as great as we can. But you do have to ask, right? You've gotta ask, and sometimes you've gotta ask twice. I will, sometimes say, "Hey, thank you so much. It was so great to have you. Here's your security deposit back.
Mhm.
Would you mind leaving me a review? And then I have a little something I can send you as a thank you for being such a great tenant." So when I tease them like that because I really want that review, they like me right away because I gave them, you know, 9.5 times out of 10 their full security deposit back, right? And then I'm giving them the instructions. I'm like, "If you click here, right, it'll take you right to there," and I'll give them an expectation. It should just take you, like, literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I say, like, "Once you're done, let me know, and I have a special thank you." And that special thank you is usually like a $10 Starbucks card or to a local coffee shop. It does not have to be big, and it's not meant to be a bribe. It's meant to be a true thank you because I feel like at the end of any relationship, you wanna put a nice bow on it, right? We remember first impressions and we remember last impressions, right? Like when you're in your days of school, you remember the first day of school, you remember your graduation day. The middle is kind of muddy.
Yeah.
So it's like your last impression is just as good as your first, but that does kind of entice them.
I like that a
And then
lot.
it's like, yeah, then you just, you're leaving that knowing also, if you ever need anything from that tenant, like you've got a solid relationship.
Yeah. Do you just send that gift card through to their email?
Yeah, yeah. Usually you can do it all online, and then they're like thrilled.
Yeah.
They're like, and I will also do that. If something comes up, like I've had something where the batteries in your keyless pad, they die every few months. I've
Yeah.
noticed especially what is it, the quick set one? That's the one I have, and I love it. The app is very intuitive, but it drains those batteries. And if I sent someone to change the batteries, the tenant would be so annoyed because I'd have to schedule it. They'd be in their way. So I have a screwdriver and batteries in there. But when that time comes and they change the battery for me, oh, $10 gift card. And
Wow.
that's just so they know that like, hey, thank you so much. But it goes both ways, right? Then a lot of times I'll find out like, oh, they've changed light bulbs on their own and they've taken ownership because just they know that it's this mutual relationship where everybody's kind of doing their part.
Yeah. I really like that gift card deal. I almost yeah, that's right. I like that a lot. I definitely
Thanks.
incorporate that somewhere because again, like the welcome basket was kind of my way on the front end to make because
Yeah.
well, I feel like if I give them something up front, even if they have a complaint, they'll be nicer about it. And of course, I'm
Right.
there to fix it. But so that was kind of my like my backstop to make sure that everything kind of goes smoothly. I really like that back end, especially paired with a review. 'Cause I feel like your
Right.
listings must stick out. No listings on Furnished Finders have reviews. So I feel like
Well, and
that's
I can use that as a tool, right?
oh
Like I
yeah.
will put in my headline like 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's something again, it's like your photos, if you don't use them, they don't work, and I had someone once who was like, "It sounds like you're bribing tenants to do the maintenance that you should be paying or that you should be doing," and I'm like, "That is not it at all,"
Mhm.
but a lot of times these tenants would much rather prefer to pop off the back cover of a lock and swap out 4 AA batteries than have to have me be like, "Okay, what's your schedule like? When can I have someone pop by? Can you make sure to put your pets away?" Like, it's much easier for them too. This is just like a wholehearted, like, "Thank you,"
Yep.
right? Because it is like it's just different with midterms. It's they're
Totally.
living there. They're not visiting, they're living.
Right. 100%. Well, now we're coming up on time here. I want to see though, Katie, if there's any other last things Furnished Finder related, midterm rental related that you wanted to drop. I know Furnished Finder is, I heard from the midterm rental summit is having a ton of new updates and things that are like majorly in progress right now. But anything you want to
Yeah.
or mention or in regards to Furnished Finder or anything, please do.
We are doing so much.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing so much, and it's all for the landlords and the tenant, right? And we got a brand new CEO. We have so much new leadership within there, and they are all people who are incredibly experienced, incredibly smart and talented, and also just like the landlord and the traveler experience is first, right? And that is just I think everybody's going to see updates big and small that come out and they're going to be like, "Oh, okay, this makes sense," or "Thank God this is finally here," right? Like some of our stuff is very outdated, but it's because for a long time, like midterm has grown so fast that we just wanted to keep the train working. And now we're like, okay, let's make it work better.
Right.
Like the ultimate goal is that both travelers and property owners have to spend less time on the platform for it to work even better.
Right.
Right. Cause like the value you get out of a furnished finder listing is crazy. Like we're not taking a chunk.
Right.
Like it like blows my mind because you go on Airbnb and it's like, okay, the traveler pays X amount, I pay X amount. And by the way, what the traveler pays really comes out of your pocket because they have to budget it.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So, and then I look at the ending price and I'm like, what just happened here? So it's like all the things we're doing are going to make people on both sides just be like, okay, I can't believe that I got this much out of this website.
Yeah.
Right? So, we're just like we're working so hard and doing so many really big things that I think people are just gonna be blown away. It's
Yeah.
gonna be really cool.
I'm almost
Like,
kind of
I'm more excited than I've ever been. It's so cool.
yeah, and I heard some of the things, like, at the Midterm Rental Summit, and I was almost kinda like, "Dang it," like, I already before I even heard all these things at the summit, I was like, "I already love Furnished Finder." I'm already, like,
Right.
doing so many
I
things,
know.
and I was like, "Oh, you guys are making it easier for more hosts, like, don't do any of that." But no, I think
You know,
yeah.
you were not the only person. We heard people come up and they're like, "Can you actually, leave it as is? Because I don't want other people to figure it
Yeah.
out." But that's where, like, the team that we have now, like, they're very keen and aware of like we call it a balanced marketplace, right? When you want to have equal supply and demand. Otherwise it doesn't work,
Yeah.
right? Like so it's but the demand is there and it's
Yeah.
growing. But it's always gonna be a thing where it's direct booking oriented. So it's always gonna be a thing where the same fundamentals are gonna apply. You've
Totally.
gotta have a good listing. You've gotta be active. You've gotta be responsive. Um, so the hope is that it just becomes easier for everyone. But yeah,
Right.
I'm with you because I've got like I said, I've got my listings and I'm like, "But is it still gonna work for me? Because I figured it out."
Yeah.
So I'll carry the weight of that one and I'll make sure that that's, I can be the little insider and make sure it
There we
still
go.
works.
There we go. No,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
be
be great.
good.
Oh, improvements are always good, and I think what I've seen is, like, ChatGPT, this, like, so off topic, but relates, like, ChatGPT came out, makes so many things so much easier. People are like, "Oh
Right.
my god," and then no one uses it. So,
Right.
I think ultimately,
Right.
I'm so
It
excited.
always comes back to, like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
What are you gonna do about it?
yeah.
Yeah.
The Airbnb too, it's, like, such an easy platform, but you still have to be responsive. You still have to, and if you don't, it's gonna catch up to you sooner or later then. So,
Yep.
ultimately, I'm very excited about these Furnished Finder updates. If you guys are listening and you're not using Furnished Finder, what are you doing? It's like the price of it too. Last thing I have to say is people are like, "It's $150." I think, right? $150 now?
Yeah, yeah. But, like, come on.
I
I
know, and
mean,
I'm like,
I'm
I just
like
had a guest book through Airbnb, and I saw what they paid. They paid 3,700. I got 2,700 because they had
right.
all these fees, and if they just booked straight with me, that's $1,000 that I probably could have charged realistically an extra
Yes.
$500, and they would have been totally fine paying it. And that's just like a 1 month booking. It's the
I
value.
mean, you make it up so fast.
Yeah,
And I really wish people would understand when a traveler pays those fees, those do come out of your pocket
100%.
because you don't go on vacation and say, "Okay," or you don't I'm sorry, not vacation, but you don't book anything and say, "Okay, I have $2,000 budget for my housing and $1,000 budget for fees."
Right, right,
You don't go to DoorDash and you're like, "Okay, I have a $50 budget for food and a $10 budget for fees." You have a budget, that's a budget.
right. Totally. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very true. And with that, Katie, thanks so much for coming on. It was really cool learning more
Yeah.
about, like, you and your investing side, and, I learned some good tips on the furnishing side, guest experience side, so thank you for all that. And again, guys, go check out Furnished Finder if you haven't, and the Landlord Diaries podcast. I was on, I don't know, some episode, but I've
Yeah, you were.
listened to some other episodes as well, interviewing tons of mid-term rental operators, so go give that one a listen as well.
Love it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Katie.